Quite brief. Obviously, I don't agree with a lot of what Duncan says, although it clearly wasn't perfect because Occupy, because it was an inclusive space, attracted a lot of people, and it attracted a lot of people from different backgrounds. In a way, that's what made it fantastic in many ways. It's what Chomsky called solidarity. Occupy created solidarity amongst people from all different genders, different socio-economic groups. I mean, the homeless. There were lots of homeless people who came with their own, with their own issues, mental health problems, addictions. People of different nationalities, different races. I mean, everyone came together, and everyone had one voice. Had a chance to speak, and everyone was listened to. Everyone was equal. I've never been in a space like that before, and that was fantastic. It was fantastic that everyone had their own voice, and we did make decisions. I mean, I don't think you can say that we didn't do anything. I'm not saying it was perfect all the time, because people came together because it's such a mess. The society that we live in is such a mess, and it's failing us in so many ways. And people are suffering, and the life support systems of our planet are collapsing. And we did agree this statement on day 2, but I'll just read a little bit of it, a little bit from the Occupy London Common Statement. Which, okay, I'll read it all because it's really good stuff.
And them out as well, yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. The current system is unsustainable. It is undemocratic and unjust. We need alternatives. This is where we work towards them. We are of all ethnicities, backgrounds, genders, generations, sexualities, disabilities, and faiths. We stand together with occupations all over the world. We refuse to pay for the bank's crisis. We do not accept the cuts as either necessary or inevitable. We demand an end to global tax injustice and to our democracy representing corporations instead of the people. We want regulators to be genuinely independent of the industries they regulate. We supported the strike on the 30th of November and the student action on the 9th of November, and actions to defend our health services, welfare, education and employment, and to stop wars and arms dealing. We want structural change towards global, authentic equality. The world's resources must go towards caring for people and planet, not the military, corporate profits or the rich. The present economic system pollutes land, sea and air, causing massive loss of natural species and environments, and is accelerating humanity towards irreversible climate change. We call for a positive, sustainable economic system that benefits present and future generations. We stand in solidarity with the global oppressed and call for an end to the actions of our government and others in causing this oppression. This is what democracy looks like. Come and join us. Now, what attracted me to Occupy in the first place was the fact that it did take this systemic approach. It wasn't a single issue. It was looking at, right, we live in an incredibly messed up world that prioritises profit above everything else. What do we do about this? There's no other movement, as far as I'm aware, that's looking at things from that systemic level. So why is it that the economic system, and this constant sort of growth mantra, which we hear all the time on Radio 4 and by sort of sense of, people are supposed to be sort of credible people, banging on about this growth mantra. There is absolutely no challenge, apart from Occupy. Well, there was very little sort of opposition to that approach. And for me, Occupy was really important because it did say, it's the system that's causing this. In particular, the economic system, and in particular, there was a lot of anger at the banks, because what's happened in this country, and in fact continues to be the case, is that there's been a massive transfer of wealth from ordinary people, the 99%, up to the top, up to the 1%. And this continues to happen. We're still paying out huge bonuses to people that are at the top of banks like RBS, which continues to be owned by the taxpayer, 80% owned by the taxpayer. So, Occupy did create solidarity. It is very much alive. I mean, no doubt we've lost a lot of momentum because the physical camps have gone, but we do still meet. We do still have general assemblies. They were on the steps of St Paul's, but I hope we're moving away from that. There have been other great initiatives that have come out of Occupy, like the Occupy Times, for example, modelled by my lovely assistant over here. Yes, and the working groups are very much alive within Occupy. You know, I'm from the Occupy Law Working Group. The reason why I think, I mean, Duncan talked about brand, about it being just a brand. I think that word is very powerful, Occupy, because it represents the systemic approach, and it appeals to a lot of people. This is still a global movement. I think at its peak there were over 1,000 occupations worldwide. You know, a lot of those occupations are still going, even if it's just an online presence. And a lot of us are connected. You know, we're connecting online. You know, we're using the social media to get our message out there. The mainstream media aren't going to cover this. That's why we're trying to create new citizen forms of media, such as the Occupy Times and Occupy News Network. We also use like Statebook and Twitter. It's important that, I mean, this is a grassroots movement, so it's important that we still continue to build the movement at that level, and it's why it's so important to come along to events like this, where we can directly engage with members of the public and let people know what's going on. In terms of where we go going forward, well, I would like to see, I mean, we're continuing to take direct actions, and that's a great way that we can inspire the members of the public and act like we're in an emergency situation, because there are people dying, there are people suffering, and the children are suffering, and this is something that we should be really angry about. And I think anger channeled in the right way is very powerful, and I think Occupy kind of got a little bit of that across and did get a lot of public support. You know, whilst we have the camps, lots of ordinary members of the public were donating and coming along and expressing solidarity and saying, you know, good on you, keep it up. Okay, I'll wrap it up. Where I want to see Occupy going in the future, I would like to help build a new civil rights movement to elevate the rights of communities and nature above corporate rights, and want to inspire other people through taking direct action and doing these kinds of talks, and for people to go away and seed out the ideas into their communities. And I think that the Occupy name is very powerful, because people know what it means, and know what it means, and it's a global movement for justice. Thank you.